Well, guess.
Is it because we're going to stay together, Beth and Christy on the radio?
Well, naturally, but
is
no.
it because? Is it because it's Al Green?
Yay!
Hooray!
Oh, we love these links. If you've got any more
we
gardening
get paid for this.
I know. Any more gardening themed songs, we are live from the allotment this afternoon. Get in touch 166 177 or email studio@manxradio.com. We could have picked a better day for it here, couldn't we?
Well, I know. I mean, last time it was all misty and everything, so I think actually we earned this beautiful sunshine. It is glorious up here in Laxey and Lonan, and nice that we've got our little floral theme that we're talking over at the moment. Raghouse and Brastrick, I think that's going to be our... I've completely made up the name of that orchestra now. Brighouse and Rastrick.
It's fine.
We'll get it right eventually.
The sun's gone to her head. Tanya from Lovely Greens, hello once again.
Hello and welcome once again.
Thank you very much. What's been happening at the allotment over the past month?
Everything has been growing. Just a little bit of sunshine and a little bit of rain, and all of a sudden it's an explosion of growth, which is great because it means that we're going to be getting lots of veg, and there's actually some things that are ready right now.
Fantastic. And I know there will be an extra podcast after this programme where we might get a chance to try and grow something, Christy.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. I've been checking out your Insta page, your Instagram page, and last time we were putting basil into toilet rolls. You've been using eggshells recently.
Yes. You can use all different types of recycled containers to grow seedlings in. And eggshells, not only do they look absolutely adorable, but you can plant them out into the garden as well.
You can actually put it into the soil?
You can. It's better to crunch them up a little bit, and they will go into the soil and break down over time. And eventually they'll release their calcium into the soil and plants will be able to use it.
Absolutely genius.
What sort of things should people be planting at this time of year then?
Well, I've got beans to plant today. I've got quite a few other little seedlings that need to go out. I tend to actually grow a lot of my plants first in modules at home and then plant it out in the garden because I'm able to keep an eye on it, keep them away from slugs, and they just seem to do a lot better. So beans are going in today. Alpine strawberries are going in today. I've recently just planted out some kohlrabi, some leeks that I grew in modules. There's lots in the garden right now.
Absolutely fantastic. As I say, any questions, queries throughout the programme, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com.
And Lucy, we're about to speak to Lucy in a second. Tanya's invited some guests up this afternoon, and before we speak to one of them, we did ask if she could choose a themed song for this afternoon. So I think we're going to call this Lucy Chapman's intro music.
That would be even better if Lucy could actually hear it. But Lucy Chapman, welcome to the allotment.
Thank you. I enjoyed the dancing.
Did you? You're the only one. We should say we are live on Manx Radio's Facebook page now, so they had the delight of seeing that as well. Lucy, where are you from? Remind us.
I'm from the community gardening group Grin.
And what is that community group all about?
We're currently based down at Arbury School, so we have a plot down at Arbury School. We help to enhance the school's garden, and we get little ones, 0 to 4-year-olds, along with their parents and carers to enjoy the garden with us, learn some new skills off our volunteers who come along and get involved with the school as well.
And it's been going for, what, about a year or so
we
now?
Just had our first birthday.
How wonderful. And you've brought somebody with you. Who's that?
So this is Natasha, and Natasha is she's one of our volunteers, but also has children that sometimes come along. Natasha knows a lot more about gardening than I do, so it's a bit of a blessing to Grin.
So when did you first get involved in gardening, Natasha?
I've got 2 young children now, so I started going last April, and then I've kind of got more involved as the garden's progressed, and just helping create more sensory plants around, and it's really supporting the children to be there.
And I suppose it's a great thing to get kids involved in from an early age because it just becomes something that they're so used to and able to do.
Yeah, I think it's really important at a young age to just get them caring about the environment, and it just, it keeps expanding as they grow up.
And what are some of you mentioned sensory sort of plants, what are some good things to get kids introduced to in the garden to start with?
Peas is a great one, strawberries. I mean, just learning that they can pick things and put them straight in their mouth, and amazing tastes, and that's great to get them started.
And Tanya, I know that there are plans potentially afoot to maybe get some children and other people in the community involved in gardening here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people who are interested in gardening are aware that this week is the Chelsea Flower Show. And one of the big gardens there that was introduced is one by co-designed by the Duchess of Cambridge. And it's the Back to Nature garden, and it's all about getting kids back in the garden and having that sensory experience, etc. Now here at the allotment, you can look out over the field, and we have quite a few plots that are vacant. So ones that are covered in plastic. This one just down below mine is also vacant. And so we were having a think about this recently and wanted to maybe start up our own green project. And that's why I've invited Lucy to come on board to give us some advice on how to approach a school or a group that has children and give them space to garden.
So what would you say to that, Lucy?
So you already have great gardening knowledge, which is more than I had when I started off, so that's a really good place to start. I think the next thing that you need is relationships. So for us, we've got a really great relationship with Mr. Ayres, the headmaster at Albury School, and he put his trust in us to manage just one small bed to start with in his community garden up at the top of the school grounds. So we started out small. I think that's really important. And over time have developed and started supporting the garden a little bit more for them. So I think when approaching a school, it's about, teachers are just so busy, and I think we're all in agreement that we want to get our kids out into nature, but we can't just keep loading more and more new initiatives onto teachers. We need to be offering a service and doing that well. So I think if you can present something a little bit ready-made and managed, that's a really good place to start.
So perhaps maybe allotment plot holders here might be interested and be able to give their gardening experience to the younger generation. So maybe that's something that we could work on. Now you mentioned that you've got some kids at Albury School. How many kids are involved in the Green Project right now?
So the school have their own garden club who go up to the garden once a week, and I think there's about 10 of them in our group. So we focus on the 0 to 4-year-olds, and we've got probably about 10 people who come regularly. Sometimes it's really busy. I don't ask for a commitment from people. I know what it's like being a parent to really young children. It's quite nice just to be able to drop in and out of somewhere. So at the moment it's not something that people have to commit to. But yeah, a good core group of about 10 people in the summer. The weather obviously really helps, and we've had some really exciting developments with work that's been going on in the garden, which is encouraging more people to come along.
Brilliant. Well, I will definitely be picking your brain over advice today and further on, because we definitely want to get some kids involved here.
We are live from the allotment this afternoon. Any gardening queries, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com. We did have an email in a little bit earlier from Helen, who says she's had fuchsia in her garden for the past couple of years, but it hasn't flowered at all. Any advice or any idea where that might be?
How old is it really? Because sometimes it takes a while for any kind of flowering shrub to produce flowers. Just give it some time and see what happens.
And when we were here last, I mentioned to you that I'd found an old packet of seeds, and I didn't know whether maybe they were past their sell-by date or whatever. And you said, plant them and see what happens. I can report, Christy,
Go on.
the butterfly flowers have actually started growing. There is life.
So I might try and get those gin herbs planted after all.
You should. And actually, we've got a gin maker's hedge here at the allotment.
No way.
We planted it as shrubs just over, a year ago, and they're already in flower, and this year we'll be able to expect a little bit of, I think, some rose hips and some rose flowers definitely, and maybe some elder.
When you said gin maker's hedge, I just had the vision of lots of faces poking out from the hedge there, Christy.
Actual
and
gin
yours
makers.
would be among them, I'm sure.
Yes, it would.
Or little bottles. Little bottles hanging.
We are up at the Laxey allotment this afternoon. I think it's time we had some more music, actually. So we've got Mac Band ready to go for you. This is Roses Are Red.